What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica podcast, episode number 233. My name is Alfredo. I'm here with Cristiano Oliveira. What's going on, Cristiano Oliveira?
What's going on, guys?
And Steve Santos. What's happening, Mr. Santos?
Not a whole of a lot. Another night, another podcast.
Yeah. And we were just actually watching the Estoril resumo because we didn't get to watch the game. So forgive us if we mentioned some things that were inaccurate. You know what else is inaccurate, Cristiano?
Our start time.
Yeah, we're an hour and a half late compared to an hour.
And Rafa in front of goal.
Oh, but
on tonight's podcast, we will look back at the Chaves game, which took place last Friday. We'll also look ahead to Estoril's game. Look back at Estoril's game, which happened today. And we'll look ahead to Benfica's next opponent, which is Feirense. And we'll look also at the month of March, what the month of March has reserved for Benfica. So without further ado, let's get right into the Chaves game. Benfica played Chaves on Friday. I'll give you the lineup. Ederson was in goal. Then we had Semedo at right back, Luizão and Lindelof, the center back pairing, Eliseu at left back, Samaris and Pizzi were in the middle. Samaris filling in for Fesa, who we found out during the week that was hurt. Salvio and Zivkovic were on the wings. Rafa supported Mitroglou up front. So Benfica was back at the Luz. Started the game well, I would say. 18-minute goal by Mitroglou. 21st of the season. But after the goal, there was a little bit of let off. And Steve, I was thinking about this, and we had mentioned this in past podcasts or last week that it seems that Benfica is right at their limits. They're doing just enough to get by, and I don't know if at this point of the season them through to the rest of the championship.
Yeah, they're looking, like I said last week, they look a team that's tired and does not look that mentally fresh either. Does not look like they're super confident. The final passes aren't that good. The finishing in front of goal from Rafa isn't good. He looks uncomfortable, to say the least. There's things that when you watch the team, they don't look relaxed. None of them. And I think that's what's really playing on them right now. It's got to be, like we said last week, the 1 point lead is probably adding that little bit of pressure, that little bit of uncertainty, and they're having a hard time with it. But whether they're having a hard time or there is pressure or not, they are getting the results they need. And even today, no matter how tight it is, you're in lucky calls, the things are still, for now, bouncing in our favor. So yeah. I know you were a little bit more pessimistic. You're like, if this stays like this and Jonas is hurt, Face is hurt, I don't see us being able to keep on pushing through. But I don't know. I think we have enough quality that in the moments that matter, we will always come up with it. The one match that really worries me is the head-to-head, and if that's the one that I'm pessimistic about. But yeah, we'll see.
Cristiano, what's your take on Benfica's current moment?
Man, I'm gonna harp back on the things that I've been preaching and been trying to tell you guys about since I think I've arrived here on the pod, which is the form, the quality of this club is good enough to play against these Mancos. Okay? I thought there's way too many spaces, too many opportunities, too much time given to Chaves. It's another one of those games where Benfica scores and they fail to put the game away. We've seen that time and time and time and time and time and time again under Rui Vitória. But yet people fail to realize that. People don't want to point out the bad things in Rui Vitória. And I think that's definitely one of the bad things in his coaching resume is that I don't think he presses on. I don't think the team half the time is prepared to play with a lead. I don't know. He tries to slow things down way too much, see too many open spaces, too many opportunities. And the reason why we're getting away with it is because we are playing the likes of Chaves and the Studios of the world. Because had we been playing anyone anywhere near our our caliber, I mean, Benfica will not be coming away with these 3-1 victories. Yeah, you look on paper and it looks beautiful. 3-1. Oh, okay, easy game. But it was not an easy game. And I don't know if you want to start and jump right into the game and start discussing topics of the game. But it's a game that Benfica had put away. Should have, at least I should say, should have put away. And for a good 15, 20 minutes, Benfica's doing the chasing. Benfica looks like the small team, the team that's you know, the team that we saw play against Borussia Dortmund. That's who it seemed like we were playing. And we're talking about shops. So, I mean, I could go on and on about this stuff, but I'll say it again. And I know you guys on Twitter are going to ridicule me, but it's Monkus, man. We were able to get away with it against Monkus.
Yeah,
you know,
go ahead, Steve.
I thought Shabs were quite good.
Yeah, I don't want to take anything away from Shabs.
I do not want to call this team Monkus. They have. I didn't know enough about them until I saw them play this past weekend, and I was quite impressed. They do not waste the ball when they win it. You don't see no long hoofs up the pitch. They always try to come out in a controlled manner when they do receive the ball back from us or when they win the ball back from us. And they have some players that you want to say veterans, want to say players that have been around in the league, players with a little bit of stature. The kid that plays on the left wing, why is his name? Fabio Martins, I believe his name is. Looks a good player. I didn't know too much about him before this weekend.
You got Bressard.
You got the guy who scores the goal. It's been around. Rio Ave, nice player, decent for our league.
The Russian looked good. Yeah, the Russian looked good as well. I mean, look.
Yeah, they surprised me. And okay, yes, we did not look great, but we had moments that were more promising than what we've seen in the past few weeks. A few good plays from Nelson Smith. We saw the Nelson Smith that I had been complaining that we haven't seen for a month and a half. We saw a little bit more of that creating mismatches, created a goal for, who was that now? Zivkovic? No. Who put that one away? It was meant for Mitroglou. Who scores in the end?
Rafa.
Oh, yeah, you almost missed it. That's right. And
you hit it straight at the goalie. The net wide open. You hit it straight at the goalie.
And then you see him coming inside, making extra numbers in the middle. There was a good performance from Smith, and we hadn't seen that for a while. I just think I think it's the Jonas thing. I think it's Rafa. Rafa's not. I don't know. There's talent there.
It's not his spot, man.
I don't know if it's I'm not going into spot. I'm not going to go to only position. There's more to Rafa's situation than just
pressure's gotten to him.
Yeah.
Yes, there's pressure. I think he feels like we were having a little conversation on WhatsApp today. He feels the weight of the shirt, and he feels the weight of that price tag, I think. And every time he's doing something, it seems like he's always trying to meet expectations, trying to see what his teammates' reactions are, see what Rui Vitoria's reactions are to what he's doing. He's not loose. He's not just playing. And until he's there, he's always going to have these question marks over his head, not only on himself, but the fans are going to have it there too, just like we are speaking about right now. So it's, the jury is not out on Rafa. Rafa's a good player. Just Rafa needs to believe he's a good player.
Steve, to get back to Shabs real quick, I'm going to make a little comparison. Fernando Alonso, fantastic Formula One driver, former world champion, right?
Yes.
Fantastic driver, but he struggles to come in the top 15 every week because of his race car, Renault, or whatever it is that he's racing for right now. And Shabs is very similar. It's a team that if they pull off a victory, it'll be like Fernando Alonso once again pulling off a victory because they're not expected to even be up there with the likes of Williams and Ferrari and everybody else. It's the same thing. I mean, dude, they have very nice players that you mentioned, but at the end of the day, those guys should not be able to play with Benfica. And Benfica could have put these games away. And the fact that they have not, okay, someone has to take the blame for that. And I know sometimes we tend to take credit away from the opposition because we expect things to go great. You know, we expect that, okay, we show up when we win. Yeah, a lot of the times in the Portuguese league, it is like that. But in these cases, it's things that we see. I mean, Benfica could very easily put these games away, and they make it a lot tougher than what it's supposed to be.
No, I have to agree that Benfica does make it tougher on themselves when they and I agree with you, Chris. A team of Benfica's caliber, top team in Portugal. If you go by what we have won in the past 3 years, but also, I mean, you get the reputation. the teams that are supposed to be playing with Benfica are probably four, maybe five teams that could play Benfica face to face, or olhos nos olhos. Porto, Sporting, you throw a Guimarães in there on a good year, and Braga too. You can't count out Braga, even though they're doing crappy this year ever since Jorge Simon took over. But these are the teams that could give Benfica difficulties. Now you're looking at Chaves, newly promoted Chaves, and they're not doing all that bad. They're seventh in the table. They got the most ties out of any team in the Portuguese league, so they're not doing bad. There's teams that play Benfica well, but by Benfica's standards and reputation, we shouldn't really be inching out these games. We shouldn't be able to leave it to the last minute. I remember watching the game going into the last 15 minutes of the game, and there was a little uneasy feeling from me as I'm watching this game, saying Benfica is struggling to close out this game, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, I think the way Benfica tends to try to manage games is, especially in our league, not the way I would like them to be doing it. Instead of staying in organized attack and keeping the ball, it seems like a lot of times we just kind of cocoon, make it difficult to get through us, and basically defend or relax in that way. We shouldn't be doing that. That wasn't so much the case in this Chaves game. I honestly think this is not as bad as a performance as we've seen lately. It was missing that extra something in the final third, which I've said for a few weeks, but I really mean it this game, because there was some nice movements, there was some good touches, there was times where Zivkovic knew that he probably could have went one-on-one, but he was more aware and knew that he should be doing other plays and playing it inside and whatnot. But it's that last bit, and I think Jonas is the biggest missing piece in that last bit.
You could tell the difference right away as soon as Jonas comes into the field, into play. You could tell the difference right away in the final third. There's more criteria, there's better selection, there's more holding of the ball. But still, we shouldn't be this dependent on Jonas, because he hasn't been around. He hasn't played many games. And we're at the crucial time of the season where we need to be hitting stride right now, or we're supposed to be in stride right now. And right now, we're just struggling. We went down right before the half. Against Chaves, went down. They tied it up, and then it was important to get that second goal right inside the first 5 minutes of the game by Rafa, because had we not gotten that goal, I feared that this team might have struggled, especially with the troubles that Chaves was giving them. I don't think that Chaves was going to put 2-3 on us, but they were defending pretty well, and they were moving the ball away from their half of the field. So that goal in the 50th minute by Rafa was crucial, and I agree with you guys. I'm happy that he scored that, but he hit it right at the goalie. The goalie just happened to be off balance, and he fell inside the goal. I think it almost looked like. So it was rough, but again, Jonas coming in the 55th minute helps provide a little bit of more stability, I think, in a final third, more criteria in a final third. But like I said, we shouldn't be depending on Jonas because he's hurt. So Mitroglou closes out the scoreline on the 89th minute, 3-1. It's his 22nd of the season, 13th in the league now. 2 goals by him. And we were fortunate to finish off this game. And as Steve mentioned, the scoreline, or Cristiano mentioned, and one of you guys mentioned, the scoreline is perhaps not doesn't really tell the story of the game, right? I think that the game was a lot closer than a 3-1 scoreline.
It wasn't as comfortable as the scoreline suggested, no. But Chris was the one who said it.
Right. So
and Ederson, got to mention Ederson once again. He's come up with a ton of big saves over the last month. I mean, the guy's he's a phenomenal goalkeeper, and it's going to be sad when June comes and transfer window opens up once again.
Yeah, he's gonna be going. He's going to be going, but we played before Porto, so it's important to get those 3 points beforehand. So it is what it is. 3 points are 3 points, and I'm never gonna say no to 3 points, and I'm not gonna be sitting here and really shit talking the team because they played poorly. 3 points or 3 points. Am I happy with the moment? I'm not happy with the moment, and I don't think a lot of people are happy with the moment. They're feeling a little bit uneasy. If I think that's if I have to take the pulse of the Nação Benfiquista right now, people are feeling a little bit uneasy about the moment of form that this team is going through right now. So we'll see what develops in the month of March. We got a kind of a tricky month of March where there's a lot of things up for decision right before the Porto game, which may end up being the game of the season for Benfica. So we'll just have to see how the team progresses from here. Estoril, Portuguese Cup semifinals, a two-legged event. Benfica played in Estoril today. Júlio César was in goal. Semedo, Lindelof, Jardel, and Eliseu. Samaris and Felipe Augusto were in the middle, so Pizzi got the rest. Carrillo and Zivkovic on the wings. Rafa again behind Mitroglou. Lindelof and Jardel, the pairing that won us the championship last week, and from what I've been reading and from what I'm heard, what I've heard, last year, correct. From what I've been reading and from what I heard, Jardel had a pretty decent game. So I'm glad that Jardel is coming back, and little by little, the time that he's getting, he's proving to be ready to go, just in case we need him in his final stretch. Steve, I just don't know. I think that Rafa is a lot more efficient on the right-hand side. And today, once Zivkovic switched with Rafa, it seemed a different story. It looks like Zivkovic is a little bit more adept to playing behind the forward than Rafa is.
Sounds interesting. Like you guys know, I wasn't able to watch the game. I could see Zivkovic being able to play anywhere behind the forward. He just has the skill set. He has the brain. I do not want to count out Rafa just down to position at the moment. I think he's perfectly capable of playing in that position, albeit in a completely different way than Jonas does. But he's just not in a good moment. Ideally, yes, you would want Jonas, Rafa, and Zivkovic as your pair, your trident behind Mitroglou, with Rafa on the left, Jonas in the middle, and Zivkovic on the right. But we'll see if that ever comes to happen, because between Salvi always getting the nod and Jonas getting hurt, I don't think we've yet to see that happen. But I'm not going to say it's just Rafa playing as a second striker is the problem. There's more to it than that. Yeah. The problem with Rafa playing as a second striker is you see him in the box and messing up goal scoring opportunities, which seems like the one thing he's definitely not good at is finishing. But I don't. It's not just the second forward position.
Yeah, 2 flagrant misses by Rafa today, which could have made the game a lot easier for Benfica. Again, Estoril is one of those middle of the table to lower the table teams, but I think that right now when teams play Benfica and they see Benfica slowing up the pace and not really putting a lot of intensity in their play, teams think that they're in it. They like to pressure Benfica and then attack Benfica on a counter, because they know that Nelson Semedo likes to get up the wing. They know that a lot of these guys go up the field and they try to look for spaces behind Benfica's defense. Carrillo got minutes. Apparently not a stellar performance by Carrillo, but somebody did mention that he seems to be tracking back more now, and he seems to add that little bit, that little tidbit to his game. But not a very good performance by Benfica. We did get the 2-1 result with Mitroglou scoring the first goal in the 36th minute. Estoril tying up the game again before the half. Same thing that happened against Chaves. So the one thing that I had mentioned where Benfica slowed down after they scored their goals, now instead of seeing the halves out or seeing games out, Benfica scores, and then all of a sudden there's a certain slowdown, a loss of intensity. Benfica goes into the half tied. Pizzi comes in for Felipe Augusto, who got injured. Benfica improves a little bit, but still Estoril was did everything they could to block Benfica, especially up the middle.
Couple things here. Couple things here. First of all, I was glad to see Felipe Augusto get a start. I thought that in a game like this where you have two legs, right? I thought there that Rui Vitória maybe could have made a couple more changes to this lineup. Could have given guys, that haven't been used that much this season. Could have given them these guys a start rather than tiring out the team that's pretty much played the majority of the season. We know we got very important games coming up in the Champions League, second leg at Borussia Dortmund. We have the league to maintain, the lead in the league to maintain. We got a Football Club Porto coming up in a month. I thought he could have done a better job of rotating players. That's number one. Number two, to me, guess some other.
You're right.
You're that disgusted, bro?
No, you guys hear that?
No. Chris?
I'm hearing music all over the place. I don't know what's going on. Guess just my laptop having brain farts. But as I was saying, I think someone needs to remind Rui Vitória and his men that they are 3-time defending champs. Okay, it seems to me that this team lacks confidence. It seems to me no one's out there playing with that Ginga, with that we were accustomed to seeing in years past. I know Jonas is one of the guys that absolutely has it in his game, but I think the Serbs of the world, you don't see him playing like loose like he did at the beginning of the season. We don't see Zivkovic. He looks a little bit timid. I think he's a fantastic young player. I think he's only going to get better. But Rafa, another guy that doesn't look like he's got confidence in him. I think this team needs to play a game of like laser tag or something to loosen up, take a trip out to Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. Because these guys need to loosen up, man.
You got Rafa, you got Servio hasn't seen a lot of minutes. You got Salvio. What's Salvio been up to? He hasn't done really anything all this season, and Vitória continues to go with him. But all this talk of the preseason and the beginning of the season that we're deep, we got a deep team, and we're gonna do well. Look at all these injuries, and we've been able to power through these injuries and do well. Yes, we have, but we're at a point that a lot of the guys that have played a lot of minutes are showing some of those minutes that they played. I know that Semedo is again on the up and up. I thought that he was excellent against Chaves. Yeah, he was very good today again. And look, this guy may very well be our best player right now, Semedo, and it comes down to individual talent for Benfica to make the difference, and it shouldn't be, because Benfica, the nature of this team and the players that we have, and the fact that Rui Vitória has had these guys now for a bit now, Benfica should be playing a lot more as a team and should be getting the results more as a team rather than from individual talent.
Well, here's the question, man. Why aren't guys like Andrea Horta dressing for these games? Like I said, it's a two-leg fixture. You know what I mean? Andrea Almeida could have played over Smith. I don't know what the situation is with Lisandro right now, but if he's healthy, he could have played over Lindelof. I mean, Benfica, okay, I said in case, if he's healthy. This is a case where Benfica could give guys minutes, and we're playing against the studio, for Christ's sake. I mean, it's the first leg. Okay, you lose it 1-0, you're still going to go home. You still have the opportunity to field your strongest 11 rather than burning them out. That's just...
I agree with you, man. We're 100% on board. I mean, even against the team that we played against before Chaves, who was it? I forget who it was.
Aroca.
But we even against them, we thought that we could have played Almeida over Semedo. Now Semedo is definitely going to sit because he picked up the yellow card against Chaves, so he will sit against Ferenc. But you could have sat him. You could have sat Almeida. Played all last year. He played at right back. Why isn't he good to play now? So there's a couple things going on.
And another thing, Hermes can't make the lineup, at least the bench, for a game like this. When's this guy going to play?
Well, he's probably not good enough, Chris.
So why put him in the? Why call him up in the 20?
I have a bad feeling that he's not good enough.
Yeah, well,
that's fine. I'm not arguing that he is or he isn't. That's not my argument. My point is, why even call him up then?
Has the young kid that we got back from Sampdoria made it to the 20?
Pedro Pereira, he made it to the Champions League, but then he didn't get called up to the 18 against Dortmund. I think that's like the last time I seen him. But still, that's a situation. If Hermes is not good enough, Steve, let's go with that. Let's go with what you're saying, that he's maybe just not good enough, right? and you're not calling Pedro Pereira with the 20. This is a learning experience. This is as far as experience, the kid could do the traveling, the preparation, the mental aspect of the game. These are all things that the kid could be with more reps, the better he's going to get for the future. Because I mean, the odds are that Smith will leave in the summer, and this kid's going to have to play next year. Why not get this kid adapted to these situations, pressure situations, rather than bring a guy in Hermes who, let's say he's just not good enough? Why then go ahead and even call this kid up?
Well, Herpes is on the left side. He's a left back.
That's fine, but doesn't matter if they're not going to play.
Both sides, you could use them.
Yeah, but dude, if they're not going to make the 18, right? Doesn't matter where they play on the 18. I'm talking about the 20. He's getting the experience of traveling with the team, the experience of getting prepped for games, of mentally preparing for games. That's what I'm talking about. So it doesn't matter if he plays on the left, on the goal. It doesn't matter. This kid's never going to play.
Yeah, I have a hard time thinking that a kid that was playing for Sampdoria week in, week out would have a hard time playing in the Portuguese league.
Well, he's not. He hasn't played, has he?
No, he has. He hasn't.
Okay. He has not played a minute yet.
I would like to say, I think like you, Alfredo, but I don't know what it is. Obviously, they don't think, whatever he was doing before was good enough because he hasn't even made the roster. I mean, he made the 20 once or twice.
Yeah, in regards to Horta, there's a conspiracy that Horta might have had a falling out with Rui Vitória.
Ouch. Didn't know that. But I thought he was hurt.
No,
he's back. He's back. He's back.
He's ready to go. He's ready to go. But, I mean, at this point, could Horta step in for Pizzi on some games where we needed that creative guy in front of the defensive midfielder?
You got to remember one thing, too, though. When you're only 1 point ahead and your confidence is obviously shook, it's hard to bring in guys like that. It's hard to bring Andre Horta, who hasn't played in months.
Steve,
it's hard to bring in Pedro Pereira. Today is
talking about today because of the two legs. I wasn't talking about the task.
I get you, but today is also a game where you got to value the competition. The Taça de Portugal. I know you're saying it's two legs. You are definitely going to make a change per sector, which they did, where they could. Rafa and Mitroglou you can't really mess around with because you don't have Guedes anymore. You don't have anybody who's a
Jimenez.
Yeah,
Jimenez going too, especially with the fact that Jonas is not 100%. You got to get Jimenez going too.
You can't play Jimenez and Mitroglou together, and Mitroglou's the only freaking thing that's working right now. So it's I see your argument, but I can counter the arguments. Is what I'm saying for today.
I don't know, dude.
Where I agree with you guys is the Roca game. We had to have sat Semedo or Pizzi, one of each, and we didn't. This game next coming up with Feirense, Felipe Augusto was hurt, so Pizzi is going to play again. Semedo is going to sit out. That's the spot that you got to watch. Does that Pedro Pereira guy make it into the squad because Almeida will probably start? Because I don't think
one of them will have to make it. One of them between Pedro Pereira and Herpes will have to make it.
No,
we'll see.
One of them will make it.
Yeah, but here's the thing also, right? So if the team right now is going through a little funk where there's lack of confidence, why wouldn't you gamble on putting one of these guys that are hungry to play, especially Horta? And Horta goes in there and he gives it us all. And that he could inject a little bit of a different thing, of a different mood, because right now it seems like this whole team is drinking from the same bottle.
Okay, good argument. Absolutely good argument. But what's the story with Horta? Is he hurt? I thought I keep reading different I've read the conspiracy and I've read that he can't shake this injury off. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, from
he should stop celebrating at the
Modalidades.
At the Modalidades. My man's over there every day jumping up and down. Stop celebrating. Maybe you get a chance to rest up.
Somebody I read somebody saying, why did we sign Horta if he's not going to play? Is it just to be a cheerleader in the Modalidades? So I mean, I don't know. There's tons of questions right now, and I'm not enjoying the moment that this team is going through. Up next, first game of March, Feirense comes up this Saturday, 8:30 local, and Benfica will travel to Santa Maria da Feira. Feirense is currently 13th. 7 wins, 5 ties, 11 losses. At home, 4 wins, 2 ties, and 6 losses. They're tied for the second worst attack at home, and they have the worst defense at home with 17 goals allowed. Could this be a trap game, or could this be a game for Benfica to bounce?
I hope it's a game for Benfica to bounce. Uh, None of those numbers look very much like a trap game, but hey, worse things have happened.
Yeah.
5-0 mais nada.
And it's an important game to get a bounce, because the rest of March, this is what the rest of March looks like. On the 8th, we will be in Germany playing Dortmund, and in that second leg where we have a very narrow lead of 1-0 against a Dortmund that's going to be ready for us. On the 13th, we have Belenenses at home. Belenenses is currently 9th. On the 18th, we're away at Paços Ferreira, which is also a tough game. Mata Real games are always a tough games up there. And then we have an international break after that, and we play Porto at Estádio da Luz on the weekend of the 1st or 2nd of April. So it's good that we have that international break. Maybe get some more guys back, especially if Jonas or Grimaldo. From what I understand, Grimaldo's already been working out on the training pitch. He's not working out with the team yet, but from what I understand, he's progressing quite well. And I don't know if he's going to be available in April, but this is a guy that could probably bring an injection of confidence and of talent into this team in the final stretch of the season.
Let's really hope that's what happens. That abdominal injury has seemed very hard to diagnose properly. Very hard for him to get back into a position where he could actually work out again. So let's see what happens. But he was killer at the beginning of the season. If we could get some of that back, it would be a huge, huge improvement over Eliseu. And Eliseu hasn't been overly bad lately, but still.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the damage that we could do with Nelson at the form that he's in right now, Smedu and Grimaldo getting into good form. What the damage we could do on both of those wings.
We got to say something nice about Eliseu, though. That back heel for today's goal is nice, very nice.
I was waiting for Cristiano to say something about it.
Cristiano already did me the favor of not mentioning American sports to make an analogy towards Benfica or towards the Portuguese league and going to F1. So I'll bail him out on the missed praise for Eliseu.
There you go. So we'll just have to see. Cristiano, what do you think, man? What do you think about well, I think I've already asked you about the moment of Benfica, but this is going to be a tough month, especially with Dortmund midweek there, Belenenses, and the trip to Mata Real at Paços Ferreira.
I mean, every year for the last 3 years, we've come to this point of the season, and we had about a 2-week stretch where all three of us have sat down, looked at our opponents, and said, well, this is make or break, guys. We'll soon enough find out what's going on with this team. And I think this month or the next month is exactly that once again. And if Benfica are fortuitous enough to get through this tough part of their schedule, I think, only good things will be waiting for us at the end. But it's going to be very tough, man. It's going to be very tough game, especially going to Dortmund and playing against that good team. I mean, the team that pretty much dominated all aspects of a game at Estádio da Luz. So, it's going to be a very tough game over there. And then the one game, if nobody drops points, a 1-point difference at the Clásico at Estádio da Luz. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic month. Nothing but exciting games coming up, and I'm just hoping that Benfica finds a way to pull off. And I know that I come here week in, week out, and I think Steve joins me in my bashing Rui Vitória, or bashing the style of play or the way that we didn't capitalize on certain things. But listen, guys, I know some of you get frustrated, but we're not here to wave our pom-poms. We're here to give you an objective opinion and really call it as we see it. I'm not going to come here every week and try to spin it some other way to please you guys, because that's not what I see. And Benfica finds a way, even though it's even if it's ugly, I should say. That's what I was trying to get to. My mind drifted somewhere else. But as I was going to say, we come here week in, week out, and we bash these guys. But at the end of the day, if we pull off victories like we did at Stade de Luz against Borussia Dortmund, man, I'll be the biggest fan. And I'll still come here and say they play like shit. But I'll be excited and I'll be happy that Benfica find a way to pull off these games. So that's what I'm looking forward to over the next month, guys.
Yeah. Twitter questions. There's not a lot of them, but there's a few. Peter, Moonman Canada, is asking, will Pedro Pereira get any playtime this season? I think we just went over that. It all depends. I don't think that Rui Vitória thinks he's ready to play. I think he only played him. He only called him for the Champions League because he makes up that roster spot of the homegrown player, the prerequisites for the Champions League. And he's also asking about the PlayStation game. I know I've been forgetting to give the PlayStation game away. I'll swear I'll pick somebody off the email. We got 3 or 4 entries.
We're gonna give away the PlayStation game, the Benfica shirt, the Arsenal ball, we're gonna give all that out to one guy. We're just gonna throw it in a box and mail it out to you. Winner takes all.
Mo, when Carrillo plays and Rafa takes Jonas' spot, it's like Benfica plays with 9 players and 2 monks. Why can't Rui Vitória see that?
Guys, got to get off Rafa's back. I personally think he will produce the goods. The more I watch him, there's a player there. We've what's the words I'm looking for? We've been patient with a lot less players or players that are a lot not as good as Rafa, less talented.
Deixa o Talisca jogar.
Yes, there's one of them.
The thing with Talisca, I don't think Talisca cares, though. You could tell that Rafa cares. Talisca didn't give a shit.
And that's part of what's eating Rafa right now, I think. But
yeah, that's a huge factor. I think that he's a Benfiquista. I think that there's a pressure that he was the highest transfer ever within the Portuguese market. So there's a couple things. There's also some peer pressure. There's pressure that he wants to do well so he could keep getting call-ups to the national team, because I can tell you right now, if he's playing the way he is, I don't know if he's going to get a call-up by Fernando Santos, to be honest with you, or maybe a call-up is just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, it's a player that's lacking confidence, guys. I mean, over at Braga, he was the go-to guy. He was the guy that everybody looked for. He's the guy that, the darling of the club, of the fans. And now he comes here and he's just another guy. He's +1. He's not the main guy. He's not the guy that the team's focusing on. And it takes players a while to adapt. We've seen a lot of players that have come over in similar circumstances like he has, and they flaked out and never came close to the player that they previously were. And we've seen other players that with due time, they turn things around. And we hope right now that's the case here with Rafa.
Yeah. PortugueseSoccer.com wants to know, Chris, if you had a hand in getting Tondela Stadium a gold rating, and if it was your great pictures of their pitch that got him that rating.
I don't know. We should that question should be forwarded to a Bola Record in Jogo, whatever they post. They should ask them.
Cristiano can neither confirm nor deny that he had anything to do with that.
I don't even know if it was me.
Eliseu the Man is asking, do you think it may be time to call up Zé Gomes to play center forward when Jonas is hurt? Rafa is not cutting it.
No.
Disagree.
No, because if you're going to call him up, yes, to play. It's not to sit him on the bench. It's not to play 5 minutes because you're going to stunt his growth.
He's 17 years old, bro.
Exactly. He should only come up if it's to play. If it's to ride the bench, leave him on the B team or in the youth league, whatever, Champions League, and let the kid play, because he's only going to get better by playing, not by sitting on the bench and watching other guys play.
Yeah, no, I agree. Eric Vesper is a little hot about Rafa here. He's saying, is Rafa simply the wrong type of player for us? Great on the counter, but not enough end product to break down Liga defenses.
I think not a bad shout.
Yeah,
that's not a bad shout, because what's Rafa's strengths that we've seen over the last couple of years is him on the break, him on the counter.
Yeah,
I mean exactly. Go ahead, Steve. You want to say?
What's Salvio good for?
Yeah, I mean, when you compare Rafa to Salvio, there isn't much of a drop off there. I'd rather take
Salvio has played so many minutes for this club with a skill set that is more limited than Rafa's. I know I tend to pick on certain players. I pick on Savio a lot, but there's so many things that Rafa can do that Savio can't. Savio misses chances too. Savio probably could finish slightly better than Rafa does, but that's about it. I mean, Rafa's got a lot better footballing brain. He's good 1v1. He makes a lot better decisions in all areas of the pitch than Savio does. Savio kills so many plays when he gets to the final third. We got to be more patient, guys. We have to be more patient.
Agree that we have to be patient. But the thing on Salvio, man, let's not forget, this was a fantastic player previous to his injuries. And I think he still has that in his back pocket. And people at Benfica, at least at Benfica, he's already done it. And I think people play him based on who he was before and hoping to get him to the next level, because I think Benfica will be thrilled to sell him, even though I don't think anyone will come calling for him. But I think that's the player that everyone still remembers and has in their memory. Was the fantastic player that Salvio once upon a time was. He's no longer that type of player. And you're right, Steve. You could say that Rafa adds more today, but I still think that Salvio at times, yes, he tries to invent at times, but I think he's very good still. When he gets that head of steam behind him and he's still able to get on the ball, I think he still makes things happen. Thing is, he's way too inconsistent, and he gets away with it because Benfica remember what he's done, and he doesn't get 53 opportunities in front of the goalie like Rafa has. And so those are the things that you remember about Rafa. It's not the messed up pass that he tried at the midfield line. It's that he's in front of the goal like today. 2 great opportunities. He shoots them straight at the goalie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does tend to be a little bit more noticeable when you're missing these goals rather than the guy who's losing a ball on the sideline and can't make a cross. I agree with you guys there. But for me, Salvia has done absolutely nothing this season. And, I don't understand why Rui Vitória continues on insisting with him. But then again, he sees him every week. He knows how these guys are training. So I really can't. I got to give him the benefit of the doubt.
First goal against Sporting. Partiu aquilo tudo.
Yeah,
was it
but that's
Sporting?
it.
Am I thinking of the wrong guy? I think it was Sporting.
I don't remember it. You might be right. You might be right.
Yeah, dude, he's been, I don't know about he hasn't done nothing all season. I think he's been way inconsistent, but to say he's done nothing all season, I think that, no. He's played, there's been games where he's played well. I think Sporting scored the first goal, if I'm not mistaken, or he had an assist. I think he might have scored the first goal. Yeah, I mean, he's done things, guys. He's done things. He's just not the same old Salvio that we're accustomed to.
Yeah, but
it's funny you guys mentioned it twice, and I read somebody somewhere saying that Salvio only plays so that we could eventually sell him. It's just to put him in the shop window. And then Chris said it.
Nobody will ever pay for him. Nobody will ever pay for him, though, Steve.
But Chris, at this time, would you give minutes to Servi over Salvio?
I would give Servi more minutes than what he's getting. I don't know about oversight, but I would give him more minutes. I mean, he's younger. But I still think he's very good in some aspects, but I still think he's very green and very raw in others. So I don't think he's the player that we all think he is. He has flashes of brilliance, and then he has lackadaisical flash. And I think his own coach, not his own coach, I should say, the Argentina national team coach, when talking about a bunch of players in the Portuguese league, one of the things he mentioned about Servi was exactly that he takes too many plays off. And so for that reason, I want to get this kid more mature. I want him to get adapted to the Portuguese game. But even though he has brilliant flashes, but I still think Salvio, they both could break you down at any moment. They're both inconsistent. So due to the fact that he's younger, yeah, you're probably right. You'd want to play Servi more because you're going to get more money for him eventually because Benfica is a selling club. As far as Salvio goes, dude, I mean, I really don't see anyone coming up with 15 million. I'd sell him for 10. I mean, this is a guy that is put together by duct tape, with duct tape. It is. It's the facts. You know what I mean? The guy is a sprint away from being on the sideline for 3 months. It's just what we've seen over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, you can make an argument that Salvi is probably, out of all our wingers, he's probably the most natural guy on the right. Because Zivkovic, even though he plays on the right and he can play well on the right, he's predictable because with his left foot, he's always coming inside. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Something needs to be done. Jorge Duarte or Negative George is asking if we're concerned that we can't give guys like Semedo, Pizzi days off. And he says that he is. And where are Horta, Adams, and Almeida? Yeah, you're late to the party. You
I
already
was-
had this discussion. Negative.
What's
But
up, negative?
yeah,
Big
we're
shout out to Negative George, by the way. That's my
yeah,
man.
there you go. All right. Anyway, if any of you guys are planning on joining us for the Porto game in Portugal, hit me up, benficapodcast@gmail.com, because we got to figure out the ticket situation, what our plans are. I know that we're still about a month away, but it's good to start firming up some details and stuff, and finding out who's going and who's not. So benficapodcast@gmail.com. Let me know so we could plan something. We could give you all the details. And I think that's all I got. Anything from you guys?
No, sir.
Cristiano, it's good to see you as always.
Same here, bro. Always glad to be back on the Benfica podcast and try to drink some Red Bulls next week so I can have a little bit more energy.
No, you're good, man. You're good with the energy. I think it's Steve that needs a little bit more energy.
I don't believe in Red Bull or
Yeah,
or
you're Toronto
energy.
FC.
All right, everybody. Thanks. We'll be back next week on Tuesday to break down Benfica's game against Ferenc and look ahead to the Dortmund game. I think, does Benfica play Wednesday against Dortmund? I think this time around it might be Wednesday. I'm not sure. When is it? It's the
It's the
The
8th.
5th.
the 8th is Wednesday. So we will be back right
The
before the Dortmund game. Everybody, have a good week. Oh, and parabéns, Benfica. I forgot that. Benfica's 113th birthday today. As we record this, is still Tuesday in the United States, and Portugal is already Wednesday, so it's just passed. Thank you very much, everybody, for checking us out. BenficaPodcast.com, at Steve Santos 6, at 10CO10, at Benfica Podcast is where you can find us on Twitter. We're also on Facebook and other social media. Stitcher Radio, we're in there. And iTunes. Don't forget to subscribe via iTunes. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.